I used to listen to the radio for grime sets and D&B. I was on to Wiley and my friend was on to Skipper D. I got a laugh when I'm looking back at little me. Camera one like military, listening to Killer P. Semtex, Carnage, little bit of Timothy. Back when we had no slim, had to bill a free. I was Facebook, Insta, Twitter free. Chris Goldfinger in the night, that's the bit of it. I was listening to radio for Heartless, but I was listening to radio regardless. We used to argue over who was going hardest, who was going smartest, who's your favourite artist. We had the mixer and the decks in the flats, we were spitting through the headphones, read it to the max. Big suit and a 20 in my daps, big tune when I'm getting to my tracks, so here we go.
When I listen to the radio, notice the change. The words they be saying now, find it so strange. All the frequencies they playing now to be exchanged, to make a difference to this game. When I listen to the radio, notice the change. The words they be saying now, find it so strange. All the frequencies they playing now.
Morning YouTube, hope everyone's good. Now, I've been looking in on Jordan M's channel. He told me a while ago he was doing something different, podcasts, etc. So I've been keeping an eye on his channel. I've had discussions, civil discussions with Jordan M or whatever. Yeah, it can be respectful, do you know what I mean? And like, when someone is like that, you can be respectful with discussion or whatever. It don't need to get to low level, silly tactics that go on elsewhere. So, like I say, I was interested in the direction that he was going. I think myself and Jordan agree on a few key things really, which I've discovered here and there on Trillers, etc. So, and on his own channel, obviously. Now, with Jordan, he will actually address, your comments, your questions, etc. So, respect where due, do you know what I mean? Now, the podcast that he was, I don't know how it was working. He was running it on his channel anyway, but I think it was going through maybe Facebook and maybe some other apps or something, I don't know. But do you know what I mean? Like, the comments that I was putting down, I thought they probably won't even respond, or if you do get a response, it will be, just a silly one or whatever, or just blocked. Do you know what I mean? Like you would do on certain channels for asking slightly awkward questions. But like I say, credit where due. My comments, questions, etc. was addressed, and not just by the one panelist, you know what I mean? By I think there was 3 or 4, 3 on one, 4 on another maybe. That was addressing the comments and whatever. Now, it's one of them. I know straight away how people take things and this, that and the other, and people like to try and make you out as things that you're not or whatever. And I think that goes across the board, I would say. Now, because there was addressing the comments and this, that and the other, and they do seem decent, I'll put a link from that channel to this channel so you can, it's one of them, not everyone's going to care, do you know what I mean? For some people it won't be their cup of tea, for some people it will. Now, you can check out the 2 lives which have been present and asking relevant questions and whatever, and you can see the way that they've been responded to for yourselves. There'll only be a handful of people that will do that, but you know, my audience is probably quite select, to be fair. So yeah, now off the back of that, and off the back of civil discourse and things being addressed rather than ignored, they've said that, you know, they're quite willing to meet people in person and even go over the 109 problematic verses, which up to now you've probably all witnessed. Whoever's listening to this, you've probably all witnessed the Muslims around the situation, whether they be born Muslims or converts to Islam, seem to want to run away from that discussion. Now, if their work is dawah work, trying to introduce and bring people into Islam, and obviously I'm the opposite end of that, where I would encourage people to leave Islam, then, like I've said, you know, on comments, it's relevant because we've got, it's one of them, and as the general public that are non-Muslims, we've got two very differing opinions. We've got the people that are committing acts of terror that are saying that it's Islamic, to the point where they're willing to kill themselves in the name of that and feel justified in doing so. You've got that end of it, and then you've got the, I would say, the majority, luckily, that say no, you know, that's not Islamic, blah blah blah. Now, these lads, I did ask him, I said, you know, why has there been no resistance? You know, he's saying hashtag not in my name, but surely as a community across the country, you could do a little bit more than a hashtag or whatever. You know, maybe put a movement together like people like Tommy have or whatever, and show us, you know, be loud and proud about it, that these acts of terrorism and all sorts of vile shit that goes on, the rape epidemic and all that, these things are not Islamic, not in our name. You know, I would have thought by now that we would have seen some sort of action like that. A hashtag doesn't really cut it. Now, by the sounds of it, and I think I've seen something a while ago, that, you know, they've done certain charitable acts, clearing people's driveways of snow and feeding the homeless, this, that and the other, you know, charitable work or whatever. Now, anyone that does anything like that, you know what I mean, you've got to give them credit where due. Some people will say, oh, they're doing it for this, they're doing it for that, like they do with other people. You've got auditors doing it at the moment, and you've got people saying, oh, they're only doing it for the, you know, support and donations and all this, whatever. There will always be a section of people which will see an act of charity and they'll find a way to shit on it anyway. So it is what it is. People will take these things their own particular way, I guess. Now, like I say, they offered, you know, we're quite happy to meet in person. You can come down to, I think it's an office by the sounds of it or whatever, and they've offered to go through and have an open, honest conversation, including the 109 problematic verses. So for me, that in itself is a discussion to be had, because you've seen how many people will quite happily run away from that situation. Do you know what I mean? Even the like motor mouth fucking converts or whatever, have ran away from that situation. Now, I believe personally that it'll be a challenge to explain those verses away and to come away from that conversation believing that Islam is or has ever been a religion of peace. And again, like I say, I will continue to encourage Muslims to come away from Islam. They are at the opposite end of that. They're recruiting, trying to get people in. I think they've had 55 converts in Newcastle. So that's their aim, that's their goals. It shows you all the stuff that they're doing, trying to, I think that even in schools and this, that and the other, you kind of have to look at whether, you know, if that is your cup of tea type thing, you kind of have to look at the things that they are doing to try and pull Islam into the mix of everything. So it's one of them, isn't it? You kind of have to see what you're up against or whatever when you are trying to wake people up to, do you know what I mean, the dangers that unchecked ideologies will bring or whatever to anywhere. Now, history will show us that. One of the people on there that kept going about, check, you know, not to me but to other people, you want to learn your history and this, that and the other, blah blah blah. History plays a lot, you know, quite a large part in it realistically, because we can show 1450 years. We can check that far back, do you know what I mean? And we can show you what happened, what it evolved from, where it spread to, how it spread. Was it spread in peace or was it spread by force, this, that and the other? Now, some of the arguments that I've heard elsewhere, loads of places, they're obviously coming out with for certain things I've said, which is fine. You can't get into a discussion when they're doing a podcast and they're just reading comments here and there, so it's a little bit scattered. But obviously in person you can have a proper open honest discussion, hopefully. Now, if they're even willing to entertain the 109 verses, I'm happy at that. I'll quite happily travel to Sunderland, do you know what I mean? I think it's Sunderland. Like I say, and I said to them tonight or whatever, I love Newcastle in general. Sunderland's got a place in my heart or whatever, if you like, so I'd be quite happy to go down there. Obviously it's Ramadan at the moment, so it won't be just yet and whatever, and hopefully I can, between us, figure a date out which is more suitable to myself, so I can make a weekend of it or whatever, because I know plenty of people down there. So that's the way I'm seeing it at the moment, do you know what I mean? Because we've had certain conversations and it's only gone so far and this, that and the other. But yeah, they do seem decent, you know, decent and open to certain things, and didn't seem to have that allergic reaction to certain questions that was asked. So there is a discussion to be had. Whichever way it goes, however far it goes, whatever, I'm sure it'll all be done civilly and nice. I gather they'd want to record it. I will obviously record it, and yeah, it'd just be nice to see where it goes. You know, I have brought up, you know, you're saying this, that and the other, but Lee Rugbig's killer handed over 50 odd verses of the Quran as justification and command from that ideology to commit the acts of terrorism which he did, or whatever, the pair of them. Now, one of the people there weren't even aware that that piece of paper was handed over. Now, like I said on the comments, it would have been very relevant to fact check those verses or whatever, because that's your motive, innit? That is literally your motivating factor. Once you've turned up with verses from a holy book and you're saying that you're commanded to do what you've just done, then yeah, we need to be looking at that piece of paper, and we need to be fact checking it, because like I say, if you've got one Muslim that says that's Islamic, they followed it to the letter, and then you've got another Muslim that says no, that's not Islamic, blah blah. We just need to know, and the only way to do that realistically is go to the raw scriptures and look at what's being wrote down, what's being said, and the actions that are coming from the people which say that they are Muslims committing acts of terror. Now, when you do that, realistically, you're kind of only left with the evidence, and you still may be left with, they'll believe one thing and I'll believe another thing, and people will have to draw their own conclusions, but I'm happy with that. Do you know what I mean? Like I said tonight, because someone put a comment about basically saying anyone that believes in religion 2026 or whatever, you know, like there's no reason for it and it just causes divide or something. They was like being a bit thingy around that, but I understand that, do you know what I mean? Because people these days, most people are very evidence based. Now, if there's no evidence of a religion or no evidence of one of 4,000 gods, there's not evidence of one. So at that point, you're left with just some mythological stuff. Do you know what I mean? That'd be like me saying, oh, I believe in fucking unicorns and dragons or whatever. There's no evidence, there's no bones anywhere, there's no whatever, but just believe. To me, that's how silly religion comes across. There's no evidence for it, and that's that. You know, I certainly wouldn't, even if you was a religious family or whatever, you wouldn't like let it dominate your life and hold it before, you know, your loved ones, your children. To me, that's mad. That comes across as a cult. But when you're born into it, do you know what I mean? These things are normal. It is normal. The people that are not like that are abnormal or whatever, and I get it. So it's one of them. You're not going to fix all the world's problems or whatever, but you can kind of understand each other's point of view a little bit or whatever. And for the people which are not able to have these conversations, I would say, or whatever, then you get to hear both sides realistically, don't you? And you get to draw your own conclusions. You'll have a lot of people to things like this that will just be silent. Do you know what I mean? They won't want to go, oh yeah, I agree with this, or I agree with that, or this is wrong, or that's wrong. A lot of people don't want to do that because they know, you know, there is like sometimes problems off the back of simple things or whatever. But yeah, something to look forward to regardless, something different. Had a good chat on Easy's the other night with Moon for quite a long time, to be fair, covering loads of topics. Now, I'm hopeful that on Easy's it's just going to be more, do you know what I mean, more like good conversations covering different topics and, you know, relevant things and whatnot, and just put some structure in place, do you know what I mean? Cover certain things and just stay on track. I wouldn't go down the road of keep fucking bothering with these silly controls and whatever. Do you know what I mean? Rejects of hope, not hate. Not being funny, but once you've been rejected by Mandy Mosley, you're not worth talking about. But yeah, there's some good discussions that have been had on Eases and whatever, and I think it will pick up as time goes by or whatever. But yeah, you just gotta keep it how you want to keep it. Have in mind before you start a live what it is that you want to put out, what you want to try and aim, you know, your aims, your goals, whatever, and just try and stick to that. That way decent people will come into the mix and you can have better conversations and get more people on and this, that and the other. Now, I was supposed to have put something out for Skyworks, wanted to see a conversation that myself and Ghost had around the things that people think Ghost hasn't agreed with or whatever, you know, grooming gangs, this, that and the other. So I'm just going to put some of these conversations back out. I'll always give credit where due, regardless of, you know, for me, you can do something good and you can do something bad, and I'll be able to call them both out. I'll be able to say, well, yeah, you've done this that's good and you've done this that's bad. You know, again, people draw your own conclusions, but I try to be fair with everybody. Do you know what I mean? I'll meet them with the energy that they meet me with. It is that simple. If you're nice with me, I'll be nice with you. If you want to be a cunt with me, I'll probably be a cunt with you. That's how I am. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this because it's one of them. I can't be arsed with the political shit. I've never been political anyway. I've always seen it as a problem. I've always seen it as part of the fucking problem rather than the solution. And don't believe it's a game that you can win, realistically. And even when you do win, nothing gets delivered anyway. Like Brexit, do you know what I mean? We all voted, we all thought we was going to get all this money to be able to put into the country and make better schools, houses, blah blah. Nothing happened. We didn't get fuck all. We just got shafted or whatever. So even when you can all unite and you can all fucking focus on one group, it doesn't always work, does it? Well, is there any evidence of people voting for something and then actually getting what they voted for? Because I can't really think about, to be honest. So I personally won't put all my eggs in that basket. I don't think it works. I think we've got better lawful solutions, more direct action, which is totally lawful, and the police have already proved that they will get behind us, they will support us. We've just got to put pressure on the CPS. So yeah, for me, like I've said for the last however many years, the middle ground is where, if anything, I know it's a bit late in the day now, but I don't think it's ever too late, realistically. Yeah, I just think there's a lot that you can do in the middle ground or whatever, and realistically, when you work to the middle ground and not the left and not the right, you're probably gonna get more genuine people anyway, to be fair. When you're doing something lawful, which lawful rebellion and all that sort of thing is, they've got nothing to paint you in. Your issue is with the government. It's on a lawful basis, and you're taking law to its fucking bare bones or whatever, and there's nothing they can do about that. They can't label you as you're racist, you're this, you're that, all these fucking ridiculous labels. They can't come with any of that because it just doesn't wash. You've got an issue with the government, you can point out treasonous actions and you've got the evidence to back it up. There you go, bam. So once you've got the right I'm not even going to say the numbers, the right numbers behind you, then I don't see that they could not take action with something, something put forward. And like I say, that case with Sadiq Khan, Kay, Gordon, not sure if it's Gordon Brown, I'm not too sure on that one, but Tony Blair as well. There's people on there that everybody would like to hold to account, and I think when CMW first did it, they did it too early, before these people was on the general public's radar. It's like now Rupert Lowe, people are saying, oh, who's Rupert Lowe? Haven't heard of him, blah blah blah, and people are going on like he's got to have put all these things out and this, that and the other. It's like a week old, his party or whatever. And I think someone said he's already at 100,000 supporters or whatever that have signed up to his thing or whatever. So it's one of them. Like I say, I'm not political anyway, but if I was gonna put all my eggs in one basket and just hope for the best, like thousands and thousands and thousands of people seem to be, I would definitely be picking Rupert Lowe over everybody else. He just seems to be genuine. He seems to be the type of person that says exactly what he means and means exactly what he says. I like that. Do you know what I mean? I like that. Would I trust a politician? Not really. There's no good reason to. There's been a long succession of shit-talking professional fucking bullshitters that have just told you what you wanted to hear, and then as soon as they're in power, do fuck all. There's been no shortage of that. We've had the rape epidemic covered up for 40 years plus. It happened to the Sikhs first, then it happened to the British after the Sikhs realised that the police, the government, whatever, weren't going to deal with it, and they took matters into their own hands. Now I think we can all see that it's bubbling away under the surface. You can see all these demonstrations getting a little bit more violent each time, and people losing the rag a little bit more, and the police are trying to, we'll keep this one out of this town centre and we'll block this one from going in, whatever, and you've got people grassing each other up and doing all sorts of fucked up shit. You know what I mean? This is just bubbling away, simmering at the moment, little bubbles popping up here and there and whatever. We can all see what's going to come. We can all see what's the end result or whatever. I just think we should explore every single lawful solution we've got to these things. I think we should explore the things which people are probably too scared to talk about out in the open. They'll talk about it in closed doors and whatnot. You know what I mean? But they're not. Yeah. Once you stop people talking and being able to ask the relevant questions and get the answers to the questions, you're kind of pushing things underground, and that's when things go bang. That's when things go wrong. That's when people start doing all sorts of fucking underground movements, which, when they surface, it's not going to be good, is it? And we want to avoid all of that. I'm sure we all do. I mean, there seems to be a massive concern that the far right is going to grow, this, that and the other. Well, it's one of them, isn't it? They've kind of been manifesting it themselves by building on racism, applying racism to things that there's nothing to do with, adding colour to everything to make it racist. We've seen you know what I mean? We've seen this going on for how long? And anyone that points them out, we'll just call them far right and racist. You've even had Keir Starmer say anyone that believes X, Y and Z are problematic or whatever, you're far right and you're racist. So people have been pushed to a certain limit, and I think now, genuinely, I don't think people are arsed. They've got genuine concerns, and they can see these problems up and down the country. Do you know what I mean? And if you don't deal with that as a government, then it's gonna boil over. I think we should be having as many open, honest discussions as possible. And if you have to travel here and there to do that, then, do you know what I mean? It is what it is, isn't it? Nothing ventured, nothing gained. It is that simple at this point. People are going to be fighting over which party, and oh, you're diluting the numbers, blah blah blah. They're going to be doing that shit for the next 1,000 days. I'm not going to do that. All I will say with that situation is, hopefully, the decent people that are in these parties are going to, towards the time, are going to go, right, we are, between us, the two good parties out of all these shit cunt parties that are around, the two favourites or whatever, if they've both got genuine fucking intentions for the country and to want to do better and this, that and the other, then they will just merge anyway, and then nobody's splitting the vote or whatever. Will it pan out like that? Fuck knows, probably not. This is what I mean. It doesn't really work. It works for them. It's an illusion that you've somehow got control. You're still going to arrive at the same destination that they want you to arrive at, regardless. You're just going to go the scenic route or the direct route. But yeah. Right, I'm going to leave it there. Hope everyone's good. Hope everyone's well. Like I say, I'll drop the 2 channel links. Well, it's the same channel, but the 2 lives that I've seen this unfolding or whatever. And well, a minute, like I say, to some people it'll be of interest, to some people it really won't. The thing is, it may well be too far for some people. I think with some people a year ago, yeah, they would have quite happily had or wanted more open, honest discussions. For some people now, I think they've seen enough and they've had enough. Will it go to the point where the last ones are waking up, panic and go too far right? Could it go that way? I don't know. Do you know what I mean? Anything's possible. These are uncharted waters at the moment that we're in. But one thing we do know is people are pissed off and will continue to get more pissed off as time goes by, as more attacks happen from these fucking unchecked migrants or whatever you want to call them, asylum seekers, fucking whatever. Do you know what I mean? As more things happen, you're going to get more pissed off people. You're going to have more protests. You're going to have protests scattered more than they are now, and they're going to get thick and fast towards the warmer months or whatever. I think it's going to boil over. I really do. I think we're going to see fucked up shit. All you have to do is look around, look at all the groups that are popping up. Look at, we've already had over 100 paedophile hunter teams for years, because people have realised the government's not looking after us. They're certainly not looking out for our kids. People have already realised that, yeah, as communities, we have to take matters into our own hands lawfully. Do you know what I mean? And that's already been happening. There's groups fucking here, there and everywhere that are popping up. So, yeah, I think that's it. Hope everyone's good. Look after each other. Stay safe, and I'll catch you on the next one.